You really don't have to spend a lot of money to get a decent phone. Good specs with low pricing. That's what Redmi is all about. Xiaomi has been doing great in the smartphone market by reaching a milestone of $1 billion last year. And that was just in India, which circles around 3.6 million units sold all over the country. The Redmi Note 4 could be the best of what Xiaomi can offer. It's definitely one of the best smartphones under its price range. The first impression when I got the device was pretty unexpected. On the design aspect, there isn't much change. The device resembles the Note 3, but this time the curved dimensions makes the smartphone more handy to use and less slippery. Unlike its predecessor, the Note 4 holds a full metal chassis body. There's also a 2.5D curved edge glass across the front, giving the phone a more premium look. And this time around, the speaker grills are found at the bottom instead of being at the back. Even though there are two grills, it turns out to be one as a mono speaker and the other being a microphone. There are some symmetrical design changes as well, like the headphone jack and the infrared sensor being placed on the top along with the front camera and the light sensor being flanked on either side of the earpiece. When it comes to specification, Xiaomi is known to set a benchmark, and it continues to do so with the all-new Redmi Note 4. The device sports a 5.5-inch Full HD display with a pixel density of 401 ppi. It also boasts a 2.5D curved glass. The reason that the new generation devices have been opting a 2.5D glass is purely for an aesthetic feel. It is especially important on a touchscreen device to ensure that any surface that the consumer is going to touch or swipe through should be smooth. Just that nobody wants to snag their finger on a sharper glass corner, which will eventually turn out to be a pretty bad experience. For a budget device, the display is really good. The text and images are pretty sharp, and the display emits some vivid colors. Overall, I don't have any complaints with the display. It looks and feels good, and it's quite responsive, which is what one needs in a budget smartphone. The Xiaomi Note 4 is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 625 processor, which kind of sounds like a step down from the 650, but it's said to be more power efficient. The device also comes in 3 different memory units, and the one I'm holding right now is a 64GB variant. The device is also integrated with Adreno 506 GPU, which is pretty efficient to play any games available on the Play Store. Multitasking on the Redmi Note 4 is pretty smooth. Especially the top variant of the Redmi Note 4 was able to handle anything that I threw at it, and it's arguably the best performing smartphone in its category. The battery is a major concern in most of the smartphones these days. As higher the performance, the more power is required, and this is pretty well handled with Xiaomi Note 4. It packs a 4100 mAh power battery, which is pretty impressive. The device lasted a day long with some gaming, music and a horror video playback. But one fact that hurts is that the device doesn't support quick charging, which is definitely an essential feature for a smartphone that holds a big battery. Xiaomi has worked towards improving the camera quality this time around. The 13MP rear camera can take some good shots both in well-lit as well as low-light conditions. When shooting close-ups of objects or macro shots, the color reproduction is quite good and there are plenty of details. The focusing is really fast that it helps in taking some decent shots at moving objects. If you're shooting in HDR mode, the processing of photos take a bit of time. The dual LED flash comes in handy during low-light shots. The camera app also tends to provide some super cool filters with further options of the manual mode that lets you to tweak the ISO, white balance and even the exposure settings. I was first introduced to MIUI way back in 2011. Since then I have been following this ROM and I must say it has made a name for itself. The Redmi Note 4 runs MIUI 8 based on Android 6.0 Marshmallow. The company is testing a Nougat preview of the MIUI and they promise to roll it out in few months. At times I really felt the ROM to be a lot bloated, but in spite of being a stock lover, I must admit that the MIUI is definitely a blissful experience to use. In usual cases, I felt that the UI to lag a lot, but on the Note 4, the user experience is quite smooth and polished. Even the usual culprits like the transition animations works perfect, and that's because of the well-optimized hardware structure that the Redmi Note 4 holds. Considering the highlights of the MIUI 8 are the dual apps and second space functionalities. The dual app feature allows you to create 2 instances of any app. So for example, you can use 2 Facebook or WhatsApp accounts on the same phone. While the second space feature allows users to separate personal and business information on the same device. The ROM also supports one-handed mode with the help of right or left gestures on the navigation bar. I'm really not a fan of the MIUI ROMs because of its unusual and aggressive memory management. I feel that the ROM to be a lot bloated and thereby it tends to eat a lot of RAM. Other than that, it's definitely a refreshing experience to use the MIUI on the Redmi Note 4. If you're looking for a budget smartphone, then the Redmi Note 4 is definitely a great choice. Even though it's almost a year since the release, the smartphone tends to pack a killer specification that makes it outstand from the rest of the smartphones on the same price range. If budget is your first consideration, then stay away from those big hitters and pick up a great smartphone at a cheaper price. And trust me, you won't be disappointed. Either way, thanks for watching. Your story droid sector, our story this life.